Sometimes I play games at random, other times it's word of mouth. And like today's game, it's all about the game's cover. Just looking at Indika's cover, it immediately catches your eye. It shows a weird, distressing game that you just might want to play. So I decided to play it on a whim. So while the game was a wild ride, is it actually worth your time? Well, welcome to Stay Tuned on Gaming, where I find out if games are worth your time. Subscribe to the channel if you want to find out if other games are worth your time. And I'll see you guys in the video game. Let's get into it.
A loot-based RPG?
No.
A city builder?
No.
An arcade game?
Not.
A walking sim?
No.
A survival horror?
Not.
As a comedy?
No.
Or a tragedy?
No.
No, none of that. Indika, a subversive, self-endeavor, smoky, meta-layered, non-perspective, conscious-driven action answer seeker out now.
The story of Indika is a somber and depressing tale. It's really not one that you're going to come away from being like, oh my gosh, this was the greatest tale I've ever been told. No, it's a really dark tale. We play as Indika, a nun who seems to be having a crisis of faith. She keeps hearing these voices in her head, wanting her to give in to her desires, who she believes to be the devil. At the same time, she's also having these weird visions. After an event that happens, she gets ostracized from the Covenant and is given menial tasks. Then something happens and she's sent to deliver a letter and leave the Covenant, which is very weird as you're not supposed to leave the Covenant, especially her who's only been there for a little bit. Little does she know that this journey will change her life forever and have her questioning her fate at every decision. Look, like I said in the beginning, it's a dark, depressing tale in a dark, depressing world that sometimes seems otherworldly, like supernatural almost, and at the same time, faith is the only thing keeping people sane. This story isn't afraid to touch on the very bad things that faith is, believing in faith, what faith can do to people, the bad acts and habits that faith can have, the radical and evil people who use it for personal gain, and the wrong of believing in faith blindly, which can create hostile environments or even very dangerous people. The game consistently always questions Indika and allows Indika to question, what is she really believing in? What is her faith? And her faith gets challenged a lot. It changes and plays on the very real darkness that faith provides. You know, this very good underlying of believing in God, believing what you want to believe in, but there's also a very deep, dark underbelly that the game constantly points at. And we're not alone in this tale. We have a companion with us named Ilya, and he shows another side, you know, a person who can do bad, but believe in faith and try to do good, but also he believes in it so blindly that he does things that can basically almost lead him to death. Indika as a character is really interesting. She is one that keeps thinking this voice inside her head is this thing that is the devil. It's the thing of her desires, you know, and she keeps trying to fight it. She wants to do good, especially what happened in her past. When she saw that she couldn't take control of something, it led to somebody that she cared for actually losing their life, and that kind of leads her down this path of trying to fix it. And as the game goes on, we meet various people, do various things that she doesn't know whether it's right or wrong. And does she truly believe in faith at all? It's a very interesting tale, and I do like it a lot. I will say that it's not the best, you know, it feels very artsy. Sometimes the game tries to be too smart for its own good. The writing is very much focused on these two characters, and they don't do a lot with the world building, I will say. I mean, the world itself, like I said, is this otherworldly, depressing state that we're in. It's cold, it's wintry, the people are very evil but good, and faith is just this weird thing that plays around over it. Like I thought this world was going to be very realistic, but also very like supernatural, like I said, because like there's like animals here that are like gigantically big for any reason. You have these decrepit buildings, you know, it's really a time in the world where it just seems like you're not going to have anything good happen to you. And then you have giant animals for some reason. It's really crazy. But it's a well told story, but I do think it gets too artsy for its own good. If you're expecting something that's going to be heroic or fun, that's not this game. It really isn't that. It's really a very depressing tale. But what is here isn't bad. I do admit that when it got to the end, it felt both what the game deserved and also kind of anticlimactic in a way, which I don't know if that's what the game was going for. Maybe it was, but it just felt like it came and then I was like, oh, cool. That's really it. There's not really much outside of like collectibles that can maybe point for some more story. But overall, it's okay for what it does. So, for graphics, the game looks really, really good. This ultra-realistic take and this somber tone of a tale is really helped by the graphics itself. It's a cold winter that's very harsh and tough on people. It's a dirty world that's very filled with nothing that's really that clean. Indika's facial animations are so good to show her anxiety whenever she's thinking about doing something bad or doing something good. You know, there's a lot of really good stuff here. Even the contrast that you have with the pixel animation that is in the game. And yes, this pixel animation bits and the weird pixel stuff that you have in the game do play into the story and serve a purpose in relaying the information, especially how the game opens. Like the game opens like in this pixel cutscene and then it turns to this realistic graphics. And the contrast of it really helps tell the tale, especially maybe I think it shows what Indika's mind is going through, and it really, really works. It's not all perfect. I do think some of the facial animations can feel very weird, uncanny, and stiff. The same goes for characters themselves, sometimes just feeling so slow and rigid. When it comes into certain cutscenes, you feel like, okay, these people should be moving a lot faster, but they feel so slow. It's really, really weird sometimes, and kind of funny. Now, to be granted, there's not that many characters, and the environments are really, really good. I really did like it. I will admit that there is sometimes a weird stutter that happens. Like in the beginning of the game, this happened a lot, where the game would just have this, it would look really weird when you were running and it would stutter at places. But that kind of went away as the game went on. There's some beautiful looking like environments and set pieces in the game that really, really are great to look at. I especially loved the canned factory or the tuna factory or the fish factory, I think it was. And that was actually a really like interesting set piece. Even though it was just a factory, there was some really cool looking stuff in that game. Audio wise, I think this game's voice acting is really, really good. It's fantastic when it comes to the voice acting. Indika playing this very young person who is trying to figure out in the world, and she's just trying to do good, and so many soft voice spoken lines that she have is really well done. The voices that she hears in her head is also really, really good. Overall, I love the voices and the voice acting in this game. Music wise, the game has really weird music. It has like this weird 8-bit type of sound music that feels like it's meant to be in a completely different game, which again adds to this the otherworldly feel that the game has. And so there's, whenever like big action set pieces or action pieces happen, like this music plays and it feels so jarring, you know, but it kind of also works. But there isn't too much music. Like that's really like the only big track in the game. I can't remember a lot of other music in there. It's just, it didn't really play up that much. The environment is more of like the actual background, and that actually does play into a lot of it. But the audio is really good. The walking on the snow is fantastic. That environmental design of hearing things in the distance is also really well done. So while I do admit there are some issues here with these graphics, there's nothing that completely breaks the game, like at all. And so it does work on that end, and the audio does help with a lot of the voice acting, and the music does help a lot with this game as well.
Don't you dare, right? Hey, you! Drop your weapon! Drop it!
You drop your weapon!
No.
Throw your rifle here! Don't taint your conscience with sin!
You're going nowhere, mate. All right? Manage.
I've got nothing to lose!
Fine. Just don't shoot, all right?
When it comes to gameplay, people will tell you Indika is a third-person action-adventure game, and while technically that is true, it is kind of just a walking simulator. You walk from point A to point B with certain puzzles in between that will stop you and some platforming sections. And that's really it. You can run, which will make it much easier to progress and go much faster, but it's mostly just going to have puzzles and then some platforming sections, which aren't that amazing as well. The puzzles themselves are pretty easy. I will admit some of them did take me a little bit to understand what I had to do, but other than that, they were pretty fine. Platforming sections are even easier themselves. Otherwise, there really are no enemies. There's nothing to fight, there's nothing to hit, there's no crafting. The only time you run into certain enemies is for a running sequence that is also kind of like a little small puzzle thing that you have to figure out as well. And then there are these collectibles that you can get. You can collect points. You probably see this in the gameplay, but in the like corner you can see that there's a point system in here. Yeah, you can pick up collectibles that will give you points, and doing certain actions that you go off when you go to explore, which there isn't a lot to explore. Like every area there's small indications for you to explore over there. You can explore, and then it will make you do like small certain actions, and this will also give you points. What do the points do? Well, nothing. The points are absolutely useless. Like, they don't do anything. Doesn't make you run faster, doesn't help you anything. Look, the game is using the gameplay as an emphasis for its storytelling. While I think that's great, it doesn't really make for enticing or amazing gameplay. Look, you have to go in knowing what this game is. Walking from point A to B while trying to tell this depressing tale that it wants to tell, that's very artsy at places. At certain points it will even go into a pixelated format, but those sequences never and last too long. Like, they're platforming, but they never last too long. There's no issues for if you're dying. If you do die, you're totally fine. So yeah, there is not much here. This is not engaging gameplay whatsoever at all. Just know what you're going into, and if you know what you're going into, you can be a lot more forgiving. And because I didn't know what I was going into, I was kind of annoyed at the gameplay. But I have played many games like Indika. There are many walking simulators type games like this out there. And while I know people will say, oh, there's more than just walking simulators, that's kind of what this game is. You walk from point A to point B. There's no enemy at all. You can find there are nothing much to do outside of that. Like I said, there's a little bit of exploration. You can find some items and do some other stuff to get the points, but the points mean absolutely nothing. Now, I will say this, what makes this a little better is that the game isn't that long. The game is only 5 hours at max. You can finish the game in under 4 hours. Literally, I did. I think I finished it in 4 hours and 30 minutes. So you can finish the game very much easy. There's about 18, I think it's 14 chapters in the game, not 18, 14 chapters. And when you do beat the game, there's not much to do afterwards. You get no like new game plus or anything like that. It's just done. And then you can start the tale from the beginning again. So yeah, there's really no reason to play the game again. It's more of a one and done game. Overall, if you know what the gameplay is, it's not terrible. You know, there are a lot of like small hidden stuff that you can do for like the achievement things, like knocking down a ladder in the beginning of the game, or knocking the certain sequences for the puzzles, like the piano in certain directions. But there's not much. I know what this game was. I didn't know what this game was, but I knew that the moment I started playing it, it was this type of like walking simulator type of game. And I was like, okay, I get what this game is. That's not going to change my mind or make me think it. But if you hate this type of gameplay, yeah, you will not have a fun time with Indika at all. So, is Indika worth your time? Well, to me, it's a double-edged sword in this end. If you like these type of games that are these walking simulators that's very indie and has a lot of artistic value to it, then I'd say this game is definitely up your time. If you don't like these type of games, you're not going to like it. If you don't enjoy the first 30 minutes of this game, you're probably going to hate it. The only reason I jumped into the game was because I saw its cover and it looked very weird. Also, a lot of people kept talking about the words of this game, and I was like, okay, let me just check it out and play it. But overall, I did have some fun with this game. I'm not going to admit the puzzles were actually pretty interesting, and some of them did give me some hard time. I actually liked the weirdness of the tale, and the story itself was the only thing that really kept me going. Gameplay, not so much, but the story did get me going. The only good thing is this game is only 5 hours at max, so at least it is over in a light afternoon. So overall, that is my take on the game, to see if it's worth your time. If you guys want to see more games like this, or if you enjoyed the video, please give a subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and comment down below. Do you think Indika is worth your time playing? How much fun did you have with it? Anyway guys, I'll see you in the next game.
First, you got pushed out of your house, and then out of the monastery. And if, by chance, you were to kill someone and go to jail, sooner or later you'd get pushed out of there as well. So where now? Huh? So many options.